starting a business by yourself, I think is pretty intimidating because you're like, I don't know what I'm doing here. But just like anything, it's just like, all right, that's a really long, dark, scary hallway.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be comfortable walking down it with a couple people maybe.
Especially a couple bros that you go back with.
Always make sure you're faster than at least one of them so the monster gets them, right? And you can keep running.
What does it mean to plant your flag? It means you're not afraid.
It means you're passionate about what you do.
It means you're here to serve others.
In business, in life.
In good and bad.
You aren't afraid to fly your colors proudly because you know
you serve a greater purpose. This is the Plant Your Flag podcast with Mike Bean
and Jeremy Mountain.
Hello, welcome back. It's the Plant Your Flag podcast with Bean Media, and today we are sitting down with Mike Austin, co-owner of Stag Pack, Imagine Pack, and Mafia Pack combination. We're going to get into all that. We're going to get into the usual, the story of how it started, who inspired Mike to plant him and his co-owners' flags, multiple flags planted on this episode. And then we're going to get into a little bit about the story of the company and then, you know, where they are today and what you need to know about them. But I thank you, Mike, for stopping in today. I hope you're excited.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Pleasure.
We like to try to start every episode off with the same question. What or who inspired you personally to plant your flag as a business owner?
I have always been interested ever since I was a little kid in starting my own thing, but it was never for a business. It was actually for more of like inventing something or doing whatever. Like nobody wants to work when they're ever, right? And you get to ask that little that question when you're a little kid of like, what do you want to be when you grow up? It's like, nothing. I don't want to work. This looks horrible.
They used to say you can be anything.
You can do it. Yeah, exactly.
Like, do they still say that to kids nowadays? I don't know.
I like the thing from Office Space where they're like, if that was the case, there'd be no janitors because nobody would be saying they want to clean up shit every day for a living. So, all right.
Yeah.
It was really just, I always wanted to start something. I always wanted to come up with an idea. And I tried it a couple other different times, actually, like little inventions here and there. And
like
actually,
what?
Well, funny enough, well, it's probably not the greatest thing, but I came up with an idea of a way to keep your shirt tucked in. This is from playing baseball and you're sliding and everything.
Yeah.
Up, right? So like a way to do that, you know, doesn't involve a whole apparatus system that connects to your socks and stuff like that. And there was another one, too, of like since Buffalo has all the muddy winters and everything, like a way of storing all your boots and shoes and all that crap without getting everything muddy on just one mat. Because I couldn't even open our door at one point. There were so many shoes and boots and stuff. So I came up with a little modular system for that.
Interesting.
Yep. There's a company called Invention. You submit stuff through them, and then they try to market it for you and everything. Tried it twice, never worked. But
hey,
there was a thing. Like, you got to do whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's do whatever. So when this idea came along, or just the opportunity to do this, that I think was always there. And it wasn't this, you know, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to be the chief of my own company or anything. It was literally like, no, I just want to play video games all day long and sports. Like, this work thing sounds horrible.
Right.
The irony with it all is that when you do all that stuff while you're working and everything, you're actually working 10 times harder.
Yeah.
And you don't realize that until it's all over and done with. It's like, oh, yeah, I should have just... You know, stayed straight arrow here, I probably would have been happy at the end of the day. But yeah, that's where it comes from.
So having, you know, multiple business partners, Tom Walsh and Noah Heward, the other co-owners of Stag Pack, if we could fit them all in our studio, we would have easily tried to have them all on. That's something that, you know, someday we might have a bigger joint. But
you're stuck with me for right now.
Yeah. How did you guys all meet, and what led you three to sort of joining forces and forming something together? Did you know each other for a long time?
Oh, yeah. Tom and I have been best friends since, well, three of us are pretty much, those guys are my best friends. Tom and I have known each other since I was about 8. We did sports together. Noah and I since we were about 9, other types of sports together.
Oh, wow.
Two totally separate groups of friends and everything at the end of the day, in high school and just life and going through everything together. They were my best friends, and when I was getting married, just naturally best men, I should say, right?
Yeah.
The opportunity came along, and same exact way with their mindsets with life. Like, again, nobody wants that corporate job. Nobody wants, right?
It's a very common theme here on Plant Your Flag. There's either people that left it or by choice or not their choice, but a lot of people that we've had on have had a similar sort of like, either they were over it, they refused or they were like let go or like COVID or something like caused it. So like, yeah, that's seems to be a common thread here.
And you get that taste of what freedom could be and whatever it is. So you get in, there's that drive and desire for it, but it's always about the challenge of like when to do it, what should I be doing, and whatever it is. So when an opportunity presents itself, you got to kind of capitalize.
Yeah.
And since the way it worked was with Stag Pack, at least, and how everything formed. So I was getting married at the time. This is back in 2015, 10 years ago. When it comes down to, and I'll explain this to the viewers here, when it comes down to the type of bachelor parties that typically people are used to, there's the hangover type, right? You go to Vegas or a bar or the strip clubs, and it's just one night of debauchery. Yep, with your friends or whatever it is, and you don't talk about it afterward.
Right.
But the whole idea is
turn the phones off.
Yep.
No pictures.
No tracking me on this one, right? Yeah, no pictures especially. But like that's really what most of America does. And what we do here in Buffalo, which is, I'm going to get into this part of the story later, which none of us knew that this was only a Buffalo thing, but we actually do the opposite, where it's more of like we pick a venue. We invite a lot of guys that are in our, it's usually only a guys only thing, but there are Jack and Jills when it comes to stag parties. So the husband the two will do it together.
Stag and dough,
Stag
I've
and
also
dough,
heard of.
exactly. But you sell tickets to this thing like it's an event, right? The ticket will cost $25-$30, but the person who buys it, it's like unlimited food and drinks and whatever, and there's raffle prizes, and the whole idea is to raise a lot of money for the groom.
Right.
And that's what we were born and raised in here in Buffalo. So that's all we knew.
Yeah.
So I was one of the last of my guy friends to get married. So when it came down to like, and we had a family friend that owned a bar at the time. That's where he held all of our bachelor parties at.
Right.
So when it was finally my turn, it was like, all right, we know where we're doing it. We're going to do it at this bar here. So that, and the mom who owned the bar, good, again, family friend, great cook, food's taken care of, all the beer you can possibly ask for. They had a shuffleboard table, right? They had the space for it. So it was like, all right, great. So what are the hard parts that we got to figure out? We got to figure out, all right, raffle prizes. Are we doing a 50-50? Are we going to get strippers? Whatever, all the other stuff, right? And as we're checking off the boxes on that, again, I've got two of my best friends sitting here that we have to plan this stupid thing anyways.
Yeah.
It was like, all right, the raffle prizes part. What are guy-themed things that are out there? I don't want to get donations. I don't want to go out. And blah, blah, blah. So we quickly Google raffle prizes for guys or bachelor party raffle prizes because that's what we thought, right? Like everybody does this. And Google doesn't really spit out very much of anything.
Right.
So now we're like, all right, Google's broken. Let's test out like girl prizes, like just things in there. And if you type in like women's raffle baskets, there's a billion of them that come up and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like gorgeous.
And they're always looking to put a basket into a Chinese auction or something like that. They make it
on Etsy by hand. It's just like, all right, what's up here?
That plastic wrap stuff up around it.
Don't get me started on that. Stuff's a nightmare. But yes, you're absolutely right. And that's, so we're thinking to ourselves, like, why is there no guy-themed bachelor party stuff? Like every dude does this, right?
Yeah.
So immediately we got that little itch inside of us that, the same way when I had the stupid invention ideas, like, wow, we just discovered an idea here out of nowhere.
Yeah.
This seems like it's an easy market for us. Like, why isn't anybody
Do you remember
doing
where
this?
you were when you guys had that epiphany?
In my office, in my apartment right near the Buffalo Zoo.
Yeah.
That's where I used to live. And I'm sitting there with these two guys, and we're looking at each other like, dude, this is a great idea.
Yeah.
So right there and then we're like, let's do it. Let's figure out how to form a business and blah, blah, blah. And LegalZoom was the whatever company at the time. It's like, for $500 you can open your own LLC and blah, 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 blah.
Okay,
so let's do it. All right.
That's an interesting caveat that I haven't really heard. We don't really talk about. So were you guys sort of intimidated by that process, or was it like, oh, holy shit, this is all we got to do?
All right, so I'll back up a tiny bit here. I actually did start another business at another time with a totally separate friend.
Oh,
That's
really?
a long story. It was a weird one. His father-in-law was a dermatologist, pharmaceutical representative for years.
Yeah.
Came up with his own line of skin cream.
Okay.
And then that was within the family. Got it actually product, FDA, whatever.
Yeah.
And he started to sell it internally, and we were going to help peddle that.
Yeah.
Family ties, things fell through. He
Yeah.
and I kind of shut down the business, but it was a good exercise to be like, I was like 21 at the time, right? Again, I'm just looking for a way to get out of here. And it was just like, all right, starting a business, any idiot can do at the end of the day. I hate to say it like that.
Yeah.
Right? Like you really just need a couple bucks and just to make sure that you're not infringing on anybody else's stuff, and you can just spin up your own LLC or whatever you wanted to do. So it's not bad.
So do you feel like having those guys, do you feel like this is something that you would have tackled without the support and friendship that you have through Noah and Tom?
I think starting a business by yourself, I think is pretty intimidating because you're like, I don't know what I'm doing here. But just like anything, it's just like, all right, that's a really long, dark, scary hallway.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be comfortable walking down it with a couple people maybe.
Especially a couple bros that you go back with.
Always make sure you're faster than at least one of them so the monster gets them, right? And you can keep running. But it's that mentality. It's like, oh, if I got a couple people here, we can do this. I'm not as scared and just whatever happens. So it's like, it's always good to have partners. But at the end of the day, like, there really are no monsters down that long, scary hallway, right? You could just do it by yourself. It's just going to be a lot of work. That's all.
Right. What, like, usually, you know, we're always asking like the person who's here, and not always is there multiple owners, but so like between yourself, Tom, and Noah, what qualities do you think you all have, both either mutually or separately, that help to make Imagine Pack, Stag Pack, the whole kind of shooting match? I mean, you guys have been at it for 10 years now. I know this. Viewers don't necessarily know that, but, you know, you've made it 10 years together. What qualities do you feel like you each have that has helped stand the test of time as a business together?
It's a great question. You have to have at least one village idiot. So that's mine. That's my role. So that's checked off. If you really just hung out with us, you'd notice that we're very more or less similar in terms of just like easy go, whatever. But you really dig in, and it's like we are very different people, the three of us. Noah would be the first one. He and I fight like brothers, right? All the time. But it's because we're so vastly different in our mentalities. But when you combine that, it's like that is one hell of a powerful, sword, essentially, right? They got two sharp edges there. They might not always agree with each other, but so we have a good relationship there. Tom and I have always, seen eye to eye. Have always gotten along on certain things, but at the end of the day, he's got a really good view and focus from like a high level systems perspective, and he's a technology guy too. So when you combine those types of traits, you've got a technology-focused person. You've got somebody that's in Noah that's going to be way more, I don't want to say conservative, but like operationally and financially like focused.
Yeah.
And then you've got me, which I have a background in, being an idiot, basically, right? Like I said, but really like my whole background's been in sales and customer service and just trying to do whatever and, just coming up with idiot inventions and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
creative.
When you get those types of things and it's like, all right, you actually have three different sections of the business that need to be taken care of, which somebody that is good at those particular areas right there. So while, yes, it's kind of painful going through those with your best friends and all the fun arguments and stuff, you look at it and you go like, we're actually in a way further place than if we were all like-minded.
Right.
Not being able to understand the challenges and the pitfalls that so-and-so brought up or I said or Tom, whatever it happens to be,
you're going to have things from a different angle.
Absolutely. And that causes a lot of and it's, again, your best friends. So it's always risky doing a business with your friends, and you got to expect that you're going to fight. It's business, but as long as it's always
find out how good of friends you really are, I guess.
Exactly. You really do. And you got to know it's like it's co-parenting. It's coming from the heart, but everybody's opinion is not always the same. So there is always going to be that. So it's a challenge, man. But
how do you feel that you guys have sort of grown, like from the beginning of you all individually and as a team, like when everything first started versus like today? What do you feel? Have you noticed a change in yourself or in them that you may not have seen without starting your own business?
Yeah, I definitely have. I know personally, and this may be just my scattermind brain or just the eyes always open, but there's a million opportunities that are constantly around you. Just a matter of just looking around sometimes, right?
Yeah.
But then there's positives to that. But then the negatives are, how thin can you spread yourself without really giving something the time and energy that it needs to really kick off? So that's something I've learned personally is you've got a lot of things there, but you also need to sit down and focus and, you got to sometimes can't be as you got to be more conservative from a business mindset, right? Like what's the longevity? What's the risk? And you
Can't
can't always
chase too many rabbits at once.
Yeah, you can't always think like, oh, we're always going to have an unlimited budget to do this or pursue this or this is a great idea. And it's one of those, like, it might be a great idea, but play chess with it.
Right.
Like, how much is it going to cost you to actually market that idea and get it out there? Even if it's a cure for cancer, you still got to get it out there somehow, right? Like, it could be the greatest thing as a sliced bread. So it's like, it's those types of things that I've learned, is to be a little bit more disciplined, I think, but you still have to have your eyes open at the end of the day. And I've hopefully, have rubbed off in some way, in some fashion there with those other guys too.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's really cool. It's almost like that's the one question we ask people that seems to have a very different answer, like, which is unique about this show, is like everybody grows or evolves or learns regardless of like what industry they're in. There's some kind of change that they see in themselves that it's clear as like the person asking the question that like whether they knew why it was going to happen or how it was going to happen, it almost couldn't have happened if they didn't plant their flag or try this situation, regardless of what company it is or what industry. It's cool to see because it's like, it's interesting to hear that. That's one of my favorite questions from the beginning till now. Just the way that people's minds shift and what they learn throughout the process is always like really fascinating to me. Because I myself was telling you out there, like when I walked into Mike's office, I've said this multiple times, but I like walked in and was like, wow, okay, this is what I could have if I worked for 10 years. And like the benefit of working for somebody that sort of planted their own flag has always been fulfilling to me, because I too was like, working for corporate restaurants or corporate stores and just was so like turned off by like the almost over management. Whereas now 10 years later, I look back and I'm like, okay, young Jer was actually pretty ignorant to why these things are in place, because the bigger you get, the more you need systems, the more you need motivations, the more you need communications. And like, so like, it's funny that some things that, at JCPenney that I would have been like fluffing off in the back and being like, this is bullshit. Or Olive Garden, like, oh, we got to get our up sales. We've got to get apps. It's like, oh, this is why. Because you got to be making money. You got to be like forcing it almost, or else, it doesn't happen. So like, we learned a little bit about you and about those guys as far as like the story of Stag Pack and now Imagine Pack and Mafia Pack. How did it all get started? You started to tell us a little bit about, your own wedding and the process of getting the gifts. So how did that sort of transpire from idea into actual company?
That's a great question. So when we were all excited, we formed the company, this is going to be great. We have a niche, raffle prizes for guys. Nobody out there is doing it, whatever. We started, when you get into that mode, of course, you're just you pour all your heart and energy, just like having a baby, right? Yeah. It's like, all right, we got to dress it. We got to do this, right? We got to buy the website. We got to do all these other things. We need swag, like all that crap, right? You don't need that. But it's like, all right, we got to really flesh out the idea. We've got to do whatever. So as we're going through all of that, we start talking to friends and family and blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, we're talking to people all around the country, and we're looking up products. We're making themed boxes for ourselves, so to make this as easy as possible we're our own target market audience too. It's like we're the dudes that are doing this, and I know what I want and I don't want. Right. So like picking the products was kind of easy, but then more importantly, like we need to be an easy button at the end of the day, because these dudes are lazy and I'm lazy and I wanted an easy button. It wasn't there, so we need to be the easy button, right? Yeah. So it there was this feel to it that we knew what the customer wanted, or at least we thought. But we didn't realize was that market was so damn small. And it didn't even exist beyond Buffalo. And we were like, it doesn't? Like, they were from here. We didn't know that. So when we're talking to like family members in California and friends and wherever that have moved on from college, and we were like, what are you guys up to? Oh, we've learned the business. What are you guys doing? And we say this idea like, oh, it's like, raffle prizes for bachelor party. They look at us like we had 10 heads. What the hell do you mean by that?
Yeah, what's a stag?
Yeah. They're like, dude, I just went golfing with my dudes on a weekend trip. Like, we didn't have any of this crap. There were no prizes. There were nothing like that. It's just like, oh, okay. So we went back to the drawing board.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Oh, no. This is the balloon. Like,
Yeah.
Like, oh, Jesus, this is not going to work. So we were kind of deflated, to use the balloon analogy, but we had Noah's uncle basically owned a pharmacy or like a business that was more medically focused, and they were sponsoring a golf tournament. And they were like, dude, 95% of the guys that come through to this are guys. Like, there's not a lot of girl golfers. So, like, your guy-themed stuff would be perfect. Can we just use your crap? He's like, you're my niece, you're my nephew. I'd like to throw you the business, right?
Right.
So that kind of gave us a little bit of, like, this light bulb that went off. Like, oh, these can be used for other things, right? Not just these raffle prizes. So at the golf event, we had a table set up and all this other crap, and all the golfers would come and register and pick up their box and whatever. And it had our logo on it with whatever camping stuff or golf crap was inside of there. And one of the guys, actually, that was the golfer, he's like, this is so cool, just because. So when we came, I'm going to pause here real quick. When we came up with the idea for the raffle prizes and the fact that we wanted to be easy, we were going through multiple iterations of how to stuff stuff inside of a box that a dude can literally open up on a table, not flat, so it can be like displayed. You can see it from across the room, and none of the shit falls out and it's just all over the place, right?
Right.
It took, I can't tell you how many things of like hot glue guns and shoelaces and all this other shit and just iterations before we came up with it. But what we've ended up coming together was, yeah, I can literally package this stuff up in a really cool looking way. I can throw it across the room like a damn football if I wanted, have somebody catch it, open it, and it's exactly the same place where it should be, right? Like it's preserved, that presentation. So that wasn't our intention at first, but like that's what we ended up doing. So at this golf tournament, we have all these things lined up and they're perfect looking and whatever. And one guy asked, he's like, hey, would you ever think about like sending these in the mail to, like, you know, if we ever wanted to give gifts to one of our clients, can we get your card? That awesome, absolutely. Would it be possible to put our logo on the box instead of your sticker or whatever it is to show it's from us? That's when the light bulb, bing, like, okay, there's a business to business aspect of this thing.
Right.
So if there's one message I guess I would keep reiterating in this is like, dude, you come up with the best idea in the world, but the moment you realize you can pivot, it's like, and you should, just like do it. Right away, right?
That's a sign.
It was a sign. So it went from these like bachelor party prizes to like, all right, we can make boxes that are more business themed. So as we kept exploring that and working with different customers and just whatever, these things have been used for new hire gifts. They've been used for like sales and marketing things, whatever. And we started getting the idea of like, well, they're giving us their items, their cups with their logo on it, their whatever it is, and we're just packaging it in. Can we get this shit for them ourselves?
Right.
Like, can we just be a one-stop shop and do this? Because I'm talking to these people, and that's the other thing too, is like you're learning the challenges and pain points of these people's positions.
Once you're in it.
Yeah.
But if you're not in it, if you're not doing it, you don't see it,
None.
You don't feel it, you're just carrying on with your day. But once you actually start communicating with those people and they're giving you the idea based on need, you're like, I want to answer that need.
Exactly.
If
like,
there's a need for it, I want to help.
Yeah. And they're like, this is a way for you to get more money that nobody's tackling right now, basically. You just need to look at it like that. And it's like, okay, let's do this. So we started to explore that, and we really built that out well, and becoming this one-stop shop for get all your promotional items, even if you don't want them in a box, right? And it's just for whatever. We'll get you your cups and pens or whatever, and anything you could possibly think of, shirts. We can do that. But if you really do need them, like packaged and sent out or whatever, we're like a one-stop shop fulfillment service. And that's what we figured out. Everybody hates it.
Right.
No matter who you are, if you're in HR or marketing, shipping sucks. No one wants to deal with it. Getting that and ordering this crap sucks. So we just started to feel like, all right, these are all the pain points that people are feeling. Let's just do what we're doing, but go through this.
Yeah.
Became pretty successful doing that. And in the meantime, like the Stag Pack part, the whole Bachelor thing has just been on the shelf.
Yeah.
So we've been exploring this part of our business. And you mentioned Mafia Pack being a thing. And so along the way while we're doing this, we kind of realized the faultiness of Stag Pack at the same time. Like, dude, think about us. Like, we just came here because we needed something. So Google would really be the way to market, right? Like, some guy's just lazy. They need something. And then as we went through, it's like, wow, groomsmen gifts is really the idea. Because it doesn't matter who you are getting married, where you are in the country. You need to get a gift for your dude or dudes.
Right.
That's the idea.
Right.
So we again, pivoted Stag Pack. It's not really heavy on raffle stuff. It's now just all groomsmen gifts that can be personalized in your flasks and lighters and whatever it is that you're going to be giving no matter who you are. So that was our way of entering back into that. But in the meantime, Imagine Pack and Mafia Pack, which is our Bills-related swag stuff.
Yeah.
Mafia Pack was just a fun experiment because we don't really have anything retail. You have to have a need to be getting married to want the groomsmen stuff, right? And that's a once in a lifetime, hopefully, thing. Cross your fingers. You need to be in a business or need like a marketing event or new hire or swag need for the Imagine Pack stuff.
Right.
Like, I could advertise to you all
yeah.
day long, but if you're not looking for that right then, it's not an impulse buy. So Mafia Pack was kind of our way of doing like, dude, we're huge Bills fans. We're in Buffalo, right? Like we can come up with our own. We have a network of things. If I wanted to get something really cool made, I could fucking do that. That's awesome, right? This is cool. So we started to come play around with ideas like, well, if we collaborate with other local Bills, like 26 Shirts, places like that, right? Like we can really make a cool pack for our customers and people out there that is like really once limited edition type of stuff. And that's the mindset we've had with that. So that's exactly what it is. It's limited edition Bills stuff. We put it out there. If you want it, buy it, absolutely. When it's gone, it's gone. We're not going to get more of it made. So it's kind of this cool, like, it's our fun way of playing with that, but it gets me back to how thin can you spread yourself when you're concentrating on all these things and figuring out audiences and money for advertising and all this crap, whereas what can you really do with just one line of your business and how much can you grow that to really fund the other ones if you wanted to. So.
And the actual pack itself, like, do you feel, because it started with the raffle pack, you started getting into some B2B stuff and working with companies, and then like they essentially gave you the concept of like, can I put my logo on it? Is that what sort of led to the customization aspect of the groomsmen box?
So, and in a way it did, yeah. Because the groomsmen stuff was never supposed to be customized. It was just like buy some raffle stuff and put it out there. It doesn't matter if your boy Mark's name's on it or not, right? Like, so in a way it was like, all right, if we're going to do that and knowing how to order stuff personalized, we couldn't lean on that network that we have for Imagine Pack.
Right.
So the Imagine Pack network literally hooks us up with every single vendor in the whole country that you can possibly imagine that can print out or do stuff like this, right?
Yeah.
When you order like that, no matter if you're a business or a normal person, whatever, they usually have crazy quantities, right? You need 25 of them or whatever, right? Minimum. So it's like,
8,000 pens or something.
So you can get them at whatever price. So it's like, well, if Jeremy's getting married and he's got 6 dudes, right? Like that ain't a minimum of 25. And each of those 6 dudes have a different name. You got Jeff and Steve and whatever it is. So we need some way to customize crap on our own. So we actually invested in a pretty powerful and very unfortunate. It's expensive, the laser that we got, but it does everything you can ask for.
Laser.
It's got the shark attached to it too. So we went for that model. And literally, like it's a matter of that thing can engrave on, and you learn a lot about like the power of light being able to fucking do something to something else physically is incredible. So the science behind it, I never thought I'd be one lasering stuff. I'm gonna have no eyesight probably in 3 years, but whatever. So it's really like that's our way of personalizing things. But it was the going through the exercise of doing it with businesses that make you look internally, go, that's impossible. We have to actually invest in a piece of equipment to pull this off appropriately. So without that, we would not have known what to do. And now we can literally produce anything we want.
Yeah. And I always thought that was kind of the coolest part about the groomsmen gifts is like going through the process. I ended up getting everybody in my crew like the same thing, but like the concept of being able to get each person one of the different types of packs and then each person their own little kind of keepsake that it come in. That was always kind of like the coolest thing to me about the groomsmen gifts. What would you say is like the most fulfilling thing that you have found about being part of owning a business?
It's a good question. All right, so the first part of my answer here is going to seem super superficial. So let me go into it. Every single time your phone goes cha-ching. And the reason is because obviously money's great, right? And that's the whole reason we start this other stuff. But it's not that. Because let me tell you, at the end of the day, it's like whatever, the profit margin, whatever it is, right? You got to figure that out.
Yeah.
It's the aspect of that cha-ching means something is working. That there's another human being that took this idea, your baby, your thing, the thing you've taken so much pride in, and they've looked at it and they go, wow, that's fucking cool. And they go through the whole process of ordering it and personalizing and doing whatever with it, right? And they go, I'm going to spend my own hardworking money on this. Yeah. And then you hear that and you go, wow, I got an order. And it's not about the money. It's like my idea or our idea that came out of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
It's not like I just inherited a company from my dad or something
Right.
like that. Nothing against that, but it was
Right.
like you built this shit from the ground up. It's like, dude, somebody's into that and they bought it from it. That's the fulfilling part. It's like your baby is graduated. It's walking.
Yeah.
It's doing stuff,
Yeah.
right? Like you're proud of it. That's the fulfilling part.
That's awesome. What like for someone out there that was considering, maybe they have their own idea, whatever it is, whether it was a product, a concept, a service, something unique that, they were maybe with their friend or their buddy or their girlfriends and, they talked about it, but, maybe they're a little afraid of jumping out and taking that first stab at it. What would your advice be for someone who's, thinking about it?
I'd say first off, it's completely normal, the nervousness with everything. If you've been playing with it that long, which is you need to, because you got to think like, all right, even if it's just a great idea, who's my audience? How do I market this thing? Who's the competition? So like, you got to research all that, I think, right?
Yeah.
Like, so if you're comfortable enough after that and be like, all right, there's not a lot of competition. The funny thing with us is we thought there wasn't any competition because we're idiots because we didn't know there wasn't even a market, right? So we had to keep pivoting and figure out different parts of our business. But if you want to open something or start something and you believe in it and you start to get those like happy feelings and you're willing to go to the end of the world or the end of the earth for it, it's literally the same thing as like if you're about to adopt a puppy or you're about to have a kid. Like it's scary as shit if that's your first time doing it, but it's like everybody's done it.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Like, or at least most people have done it. Like, and nobody knows what they're doing.
Right.
Like, there's no user manual that's spit out of my wife with our kid to be like, oh, this is how I take care of it. It's like, oh yeah. It's like, no, it's like it's the same thing with the business. Like, yeah, it's gonna be fucking scary, but just do it.
Yeah.
And it's nothing. If you feel confident in it, and if it really is your baby, you will naturally do everything you can, and it's not scary after a while. It's just like you realize that everybody's in the same boat that starts a business. You have no idea what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen that firsthand. Like I said, when I first started with Mike, I want to say he was roughly 8 or 9 years in, and he had really only had one person. I kind of became that second person in-house, and we've tried to grow something that there's other agencies and other companies that are bigger than us and do things, the same services that we do. But I think it became clear, like I had said years ago, like, is it working and do you like who you're working with? Because there's other companies, but if you don't have like a good rapport with them, it's not going to work for you. If it doesn't work, marketing that is, it's only going to last so long. And if you can, from our end, if we can kind of align with people that like to work with us, that we have similar, passions and goals and pursuits, I call it karma clients, because if we see a client that's doing good out there, we tend to think that we like to help do good in the world. Even though we're just marketing, we try to help companies and people that are doing good in the world. And I see a little bit of similar alignment with Imagine Pack in that, there's other companies that can do what you do in terms of, getting a football with a KeyBank logo on it or getting a T-shirt with, a Topps logo on it. But do you find that the customer service and the attention to detail and the way that you guys are as a brand of three like brothers, figurative brothers, what would you say is like the reason why you guys get that business from some, a company X, Y, or Z, regardless of their industry? What's leading to that business that's helping to make Imagine Pack successful? It's
a great question. So the Imagine Pack portion of it right now is heavily run by Noah's wife, Jess, and she's incredible. So she's literally the one that's like the point person. She's running customer projects. She's helping that part of the business grow. So without her, we'd be completely screwed. And there's this thing where Jess, while she's completely running things, it's easy to get overwhelmed by the same time. And I'm saying not Jess, like it's just, there's so much to do a deal, right? Like there's actually figuring things out for the customer. There's ordering everything. There's this. But when you have a small team and you're able to help and shoulder the burden of the customer. So like we'll work in tandem with that, whatever it is, but Jess really is at the end of the day, the warrior, not just for us, but for the customer too.
Yeah.
So she's spearheading all the crap that the customer would have to go through if they were to order themselves. Or it's like, let's say if you were working for whatever company and your boss came to you like, hey, we have a marketing event. We need to get shirts and pens and all this other crap. Like, shopping sucks.
Right.
Like going on, where do I find it? I go to Google. I find 1,000 different companies and they're blah, blah, blah. Like,
and is it in local or is it in China or is it some company on the West Coast? Like,
and this one's got this setup charge and this one's this and blah, blah, blah. So it just gets to the point where it's just like it's overwhelming, or you just make a decision. It might not be exactly what you want. Like with us, having the link to everything and having Jess really be the point person, she can comb and do all that garbage work of like the customer having to do the shopping.
Yeah.
I don't want to call it garbage work, but it's a lot and it's not fun. Like she'll do that and she'll come up with, oh, you wanted shirts or what, mugs? Here's your 5 different options around the parameters of the price range that you wanted. And here it's blue. You said you needed blue, right?
Yeah.
So it's like she'll do all that. So it's in one presentation. It might be from 5 different companies around the United States, but like that's, and the crazy thing is the way it works with our association or wholesale pricing that we're able to get is like you can go to that company yourself and order straight from them, or you can go through us. We're probably going to be using that company, but we're going to be actually being able to offer it cheaper just because of the way the business model is. So it's like literally I can get you that exact same thing from the exact same person, but I can get it from you cheaper. It's still coming from them, I promise.
Right.
If you really wanted that one.
Right.
So that's how we kind of earn the business, is like we're always going to be very price competitive, but we got a warrior in Jess that's being able to, here's all your options. I'm going to take care of the ordering. Oh, you need this stuff packaged in a box and sent out? Like, we're doing that here for you.
Yeah.
So we can really ingrain ourselves into a company's overall structure and strategy in a way that almost makes us become a partner. And it's like, that makes us feel really, really good.
Yeah, I was going to say, does that, like, I think that's the sort of attention to detail and customer service that brings someone back and sort of makes you become their guy, you know, their person, I got a guy or girl that I know when I need something, I can come back to Imagine Pack. Do you find that your guys' relationship building and networking and the way that Jess is attacking, I like how you use the term warrior. I'm always a fan of people that work like that. Do you find that people come back when they need you again in the future?
Definitely. Yeah. We have a lot of residual customers, and it's all about the relationship building and the fact that we have a Jess or a Mike or a Noah or a Tom that they actually have as like a customer service representative that's more of an owner in the company.
Yeah.
And we'll do a lot more dirty work than other companies will.
Right.
So it's kind of like we will be able to forge this relationship. And that to me is by far the most important thing at the end of the day. Right?
Yeah.
I want to like my customers too, not just the people I work with.
Yeah.
So, and that's what makes your job a pleasure. And that's really what we've done. And I think have been able to really make ourselves successful is once we're able to kind of perform and prove ourselves, it's like, we don't want to give you a reason to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
Let's not.
Right.
So
what would you say, like, if there was something to avoid or something that you learned that maybe went the wrong way, what would be something that would be sort of an avoidable issue that you could say to another potential business owner, whether they have one out there already or, you know, they've been in it 20 years or if they're just getting started? What would you say would be something that would be easily kind of avoidable, or make sure you kind of don't do this, or, you know, whether it be related to communication or customer service or, you know, whatever? What would you kind of say would be something that would be like, maybe don't do this?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So in the very, very beginning, when you're really getting started, what to avoid? I would say, God, there's so many good feelings that come with starting everything, and you want to move so fast.
Right.
Slow down.
Okay.
That's my biggest thing. Just slow down and think about everything. And don't avoid with getting too overwhelmed, especially nowadays, because there's a billion resources out there.
Yeah.
Like if I couldn't imagine starting a company like 50 years ago, like phone book,
yeah,
I need to take business classes, I don't know any of this crap, like don't avoid feeling overwhelmed because you can literally Google anything. AI is amazing. It's scary at the same time. So like it'll pull all that crap for you in terms of like any questions. It's like being like, oh, I got to fix a pipe in my house. Like I can Google this, or I don't have to be scared. I can watch somebody do it on YouTube. So there's like that. So that's what I would say is like, there's a lot of crap out there. Avoid feeling overwhelmed, because if you do, it's easy just to stop. Yeah. Rather than just put it into bite-sized pieces, figure it out, you'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. We're getting here towards the end, but I had just like a couple more questions. One would be weirdest, strangest, funniest, coolest, something for the audience that you never would have thought would be requested of Imagine Pack or Stag Pack, or just a unique project that you guys were like, what the fuck is this? Do you have anything that comes to mind related to that?
I mean, just the industry itself and the whole stag thing, and the whatever. We've done a couple like, sex toy packs and
really?
It's for the wedding and joking type of stuff. Yeah.
Like gag type
of things. Absolutely. Like as, we've got bartender packs and all those other things that, for the drinking and cigar packs. But now that marijuana is legal in New York, like we've gotten a lot of different ideas in terms of like, dude, why don't you put together like a pot pack? Doesn't have to have weed inside of it, but like, here's your pipe and all that. So like we got ideas like that.
And that's tough because it's like, what does that do to the brand? Does someone not like that now? Are they trepidatious? But yeah, that's interesting because I just was hearing that like alcohol use is on the decline. And I'm like, it's gotta be because weed is becoming more normal. I mean, so that's interesting. Like you said, like pivoting, that would be super interesting to see how that worked. And like even just to have it as a groomsman gift, because there's usually at least one stoner in the group.
100%, absolutely, yeah. We've been approached by businesses and things locally in terms of like, hey, we've got the product, can you ship it? Which we've looked into, and it's interesting. But to your point, spreading yourself thin. Yeah, what are you focused on right now? Right. So it's like,
Where is Imagine Pack, and where are you guys in 10 years from now? Where would you like to be? Where would you love to see it?
10 years from now, I'm back on this podcast explaining how we sold our company for $1 billion, hopefully. That's the other thing. Yeah, I want to be 10 years from now, if we haven't sold this seriously, right, and we're still operating it, I want to be way out of the weeds with it. And that's okay, still 10 years being in the weeds, right? But you really have made it when you formed the same horrible corporation that you tried to escape from in the long run, right? With all the systems.
Yeah, you're chilling at the top.
Exactly. You're the evil one there going like this. And you've created everything that you've wanted to destroy your whole life.
Yeah, well, in that sense, in the same way, because I've kind of forecasted trying to see what Bean Media would be like if we were bigger. What then, like, let's say 10 years from now, there's a couple levels down, and there's a new trainee that's just starting at Imagine Pack. What would be the top, maybe 1, 2, or 3 things that you would want on their day one? What would you want them to understand about the brand and culture that you guys have established, the three guys and Jess? Yeah. That what would you tell that person that would be the most important thing to remember, that you just started here, but this is who we are?
It would be the same piece of advice so when I got right out of college, I got a job at Enterprise, the rental car company, which is like, we'll pick you up, baby, and we'll fucking work you to death. Let me tell you, that's anybody that's an Enterprise person. Let me tell you, it's like 55 hours a week, mandatory overtime. You're grinding, but it's this unwritten contract that they have this crazy management training program that will literally get you on. If that's on your resume, you're going anywhere you want from that point. It's just like, what am I going to do right out of college? I'm going to work my balls off, get my resume kind of batted up here and go. The one I remember, the first job right out of school, I was lucky enough to participate, and it's a big company, so world-class training again. There was a guy that came in, an executive, and it was just, he went through the mindset of in the 50s when the company actually opened. It was just a regular dude, just like us, right? And he had an idea, let's open a rental car company. And he had a military background and just a different way of looking at things. And it was the same mindset that he had 50 years later getting taught to some 20-year-old idiot, right? 21-year-old kid right out of college. And it still sticks with me to this day. Most important thing about business, you take care of your customers, you take care of your employees, and everything else will follow. And that's it. So that would be the same piece of advice that I would give to somebody just starting with me is you always do the right thing for your customers. You always do the right things for your colleagues in the business, and all the profits, all the shit, everything else is just going to naturally come and you'll be able to sleep at night. And that's it. And that's the mindset I've gone through every single business and every single company. When I'm working for a company, if they don't have that mindset, it's my way of grading them, right? It's just like, you're garbage. You are the corporate thing that nobody likes.
Right.
So you have to kind of have that. So as much as enterprise did work me to the bone, and I'll say that to the day I die, that's a pretty powerful mentality to have, and it's as simple as that. And if you follow it, you will be successful in some fashion as a business owner.
Awesome. Last thing, I would like you to just kind of tell the viewers, Western New Yorkers, people out there, where to find you guys and what you guys can bring to the table. If they need something.
Absolutely. Our websites, stagpack.com, imaginepack.com, and mafiapack.com, exactly the way they're supposed to be spelled. You can email us right through there, click on any of the support. It'll go right to us. There's literally 4 of us basically in the company, right? You got all the owners right here. So it's going to go right to us if you ever have a special request or just ideas or just anything. That's really it.
Awesome.
Also, I can always put my information, give it to you. You can put it on the screen. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, we'll put it right in there. Yeah,
perfect.
For sure. Anything you want to leave us with?
Yeah, there's actually one thing, and it's more of a plug for you guys. It's, and it kind of goes back hand in hand with that don't be scared and that there's resources all around you. And that's the other thing is that you're not alone doing business. There's plenty of other companies and experts and all these things that are at your disposal. Obviously, people cost money and all these other, right? It's resources. But like when you get an expert, when you have somebody that you know that you can trust, you stick with them and you want to partner with these people. And that's something that we've done. Like as busy and scatterbrained and all the jokes that I've made, marketing is not my forte when it comes to digital marketing and social or I can't even pronounce it for God's sakes, right? Search engine optimization, all that crap.
Yeah.
So it's just like, that's why we want to partner and lean in with an expert. And the fact that you guys have really picked the ball up and wanted to understand us and have dug in as much as you have, like that's kudos to you because that's exactly what I would want as a business owner, right? As a customer. So you're doing everything right because that's just goes to show like, you know, you're doing the trust building, you're doing the relationship and all those important things. And I give you guys credit for that. And thank you for being a warrior for us.
Thanks, man.
Because this is a hell of an uphill climb. And thank you. It's
awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. You don't get a lot of thank yous in our industry, so I really appreciate that. That's really awesome, Mike.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Well, thank you guys for listening, watching. You know, you can always find us on YouTube, catch some clips on our social, and then obviously you can listen when you're driving, getting ready, making dinner, whatever. We're always on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Make sure to subscribe because then you'll catch more stories like Mike's and the Stag Pack and Imagine Pack team. So thank you guys. We'll see you next time.
Thanks.
I put on like probably fucking 40 pounds when I had a kid.
All right, have fun, guys.
Awesome, buddy. Thank you.
No one warned me that you're gonna put weight on. Did you put weight on? You're a pretty thin guy.
I lost weight.
First, I was shocked that I was like UFC fight weight, and then I was shocked that I was like had breasts.
So you went from UFC fighter to butterbean.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Camera looks crooked, but I don't think it is.
It's the floor's crooked.
Got it.
Yeah, we're on a fault line.
The earth is crooked. All right, Drake, give us our little countdown here as I cover my gut.
5, 4, 3,